In the top right-hand corner of the map, our blue Zerg player. Boy, I'm so excited that he's playing today, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. It is Serral from NC Sports. And in the bottom left-hand side, representing Onside Gaming, our red Zerg player is Rex. He took down both Max Pax and Mana to qualify. But I'm sorry, Rex. I mean, you are kind of the lowest seed in the tournament, and that kind of means that you get yourself the highest seed when it comes to the matchup being decided. And that means he's going to have a massive uphill battle to fight today, as he is obviously taking on Serral, an absolute legend of the game. And Serral just going to play kind of safe here to start. Pool first against a hatchery first of Rex. That's going to be how we start things out. So mostly this pool first, I think, is in case he gets 12 cooled or Rex does something super crazy. Serral is absolutely able to err on the side of caution in this series, and that's obviously going to be a very good feel for him, right? Being able to just say, like, let's just chill out a little bit, like, you don't need to go crazy. He can just play safe, and if he can take away Rex's aggressive options, then typically he's going to have a very good time. So, definitely expecting Serral to be a massive favorite here. Of course we are. But let's see if Rex can pull off any more of those upsets. He was very happy to be very crazy against Max Pax, for example, in the qualifying matches, proxy hatches and Ling Floods with drone pulls and stuff. It was very cool to see. So, yeah, let's see how he does and how he fares, and see if he's got anything special planned in this ZvZ. The players have known about their opponents and brackets, etc. for a few days, so they had a little bit of preparation time if they wanted to make use of it. Like I say, we'll see if Rex wants to make use of that at all. I did say I wanted to talk a little bit about Serral, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Serral has not played in one of my tournaments in, I think, almost forever. I mean, he has played in, for example, the Casters Civil War, and he did play in War Chess Team League. They are tournaments which I organized, but they're not really WardiTV events, right? Like, yes, I run them, I'm Wardy high, but, when I say, like, my tournaments, I mean, like, the WardiTV events, the ones that I put up the prize pool for, etc., etc. And, yeah, Serral, I mean, he played in my events way back when we were SE2 Improve. He played in our team leagues for a long time. He played in our events in the past, but obviously Serral blew up and became the absolute GOAT of StarCraft. Oh god. It's Christmas Day and I've started chat off into a fight. But yes, it's obviously for him a lot of the time he just doesn't need to play in the tournaments that I run. It's just not one of those things, right? So, yeah, it's kind of cool that he's now playing in this. He invited him last year and he said he couldn't play. He couldn't play on the date that was provided for them to play on. He was busy, which is really unfortunate. I thought, you know what, I threw caution to the wind this year and said, I'll invite him again, because why not? I mean, I don't usually invite Serral to my events, because I know he usually doesn't want to play. It just makes sense in this one, because like I say, you get to play all your matches at once. It's very kind of low time and effort investment, and just awesome that he's playing, I mean, basically. So shout out to Serral coming in, playing, gonna win some money today. I'm excited to see how he does. Like I say, I get to cast Serral because I cover other events. But it's nice to see Serral playing with the WardiTV title in the tournament. For me, that's just exciting, so. Link speed finishes up, and we get a few drones on the way. Let's start talking about this. It was a fast lair from Rex, which I hope I did a good enough job pointing out just on the camera. So with a fast lair, he's going to bypass that Zergling speed, which means he's going to give up the ability to take a third base initially. Serral will take a third base in comparison, as that Ling speed kicks in, and they will chase, and Lings of Rex will go down. The +1 Carapace upgrade starting from Serral back at home, so he is going to play straight into Carapace with the Roach Roaring. He's going to play that Ling Roach setup, while Rex is going to be aiming for the +1 missiles, and hence obviously just straight up Roaches. If he doesn't have Ling speed, it doesn't make sense to play Carapace. Carapace is specifically good for when you're going to play Ling Roach, because it benefits both of those units. If you're just going to play Roaches, missiles is the better upgrade. It will allow you to turn the Carapaced Lings back into a... Well, usually non-Carapaced Lings get 2 shot by +1 Roaches, so that's a big benefit. And Roaches just benefit more from the +1 missiles than they do the +1 Carapace when it comes to Roaches versus Roaches. Now, that's a melee upgrade on this Evo Chamber, and I feel like that might just be a little bit of a fake out. I mean, surely we're not actually going to make melee upgrade here, so I think just a fake out, melee is cheaper, and I think it's just the idea of if Serral had moved up here with these Lings, maybe he sees double Evo researching, and he's like, oh, hey, cool, you've got that much gas invested there. You're not doing anything crazy. and hence it may have hidden this Nidus. But because he actually did need that gas to build the Nidus, he cancelled it, and now the melee upgrade is not seen when Serral scouts, so maybe Serral is a little aware of what could be happening here. Rex, where are our nearest overlords? He's got one on the bottom right and one over to the left-hand side of Serral's bases. That's about it. He doesn't have anything in base, for example. Serral's already rallied in base, so maybe that's actually something of a good thing. As I guess we can just rally kind of the Nidus over here and just push on forward. Actually go dropping the Nidus network over to the top side as... Well, guys, there's the first mistake I made today. How is that hotkey not unbound? Sorry, guys. I went to press V for vision, and I pressed B, which apparently... well, not apparently. It does, in a replay, obviously, turn the game back like 5-10 seconds or so. I usually unhotkey that, so I have no idea how it's become unbound. Maybe my hotkey profile is not correctly set. I'll check on that after the game. As we do see our Roach is coming out of this Nidus, though. Time for Rex to be feisty. He's got equal army supply-ish, which obviously isn't ideal when he's trying to essentially two-base all in. He's also down in workers, so he needs to get something done. All he's really got is the fact it's +1 missiles and the Roaches versus Roaches against +1 carapace. Serral will pull a few drones. He's a little afraid of the Roach counter. And to be fair, Rex did have a lot more Roaches, so that's one thing Serral wants to try and offset at the moment. Roaches and Queens on the top right, Roaches and Queens on the bottom right. Continuing to come through. The army of Rex, though, is kind of busting in on the top, and now actually has an army supply lead. We'll pull drones again here as Serral. He's even going to mineral walk them by just to get the best surround possible. Roaches and Queens on the bottom will continue to fight too, and just going to be having Serral coming in, looking for a very good surround top and bottom. Well, he's losing his Queens, however, and Rex is maybe keeping this up. Does he have enough reinforcements, Rex, to keep this going? I'm worried that all of his Queens were on this side of the map, so he's been missing injects, and so his production will not be as good as it maybe could have been. You can see he's actually floating quite a lot of money. He's got no lava in the bank, so I think the injects have been an issue for him. And eventually here, Serral is going to win this out in the Roaches versus Roaches. Obviously with the Queens as well, helping a little bit too. At this stage, I think Serral's reinforcements start to become a little bit too much. And a couple moments of concern, I think, here for Serral, but... And then the funny thing is, right, until Serral is actually, like, leaving the game, it's so difficult to actually be worried about Serral, because we know he's amazing. We know he can pull off ridiculous defenses and holds. In fact, for me, one of the most Serral things in the past was always when, in ZvZ, it was like, oh god, how do you hold this with so little supply in comparison to your opponent? It's a mirror matchup. You can see, plain as day, right, all of the advantages that the opponent would have against him. And then Serral would pull out a hold, and it would just leave you kind of sitting there being like, what? And then there was a point where I just, you know, called that kind of getting Serraled, and then there's a point where I called it getting Reynolds as well, because Reynolds would do the same sort of thing, right? This kind of like incredible defense, kind of out of nowhere. All that kind of crazy stuff as the hatchery goes down on the left-hand side. And so, yeah, just kind of, you know, like I say, the whole point of my story is... That's a little bit of a misclick. Oh, was it? No, it probably wasn't. I'll explain that in a sec. My whole point of my story was obviously just that it's hard to kind of doubt Serral until it really looks like he's dying. So, a minor moment of fretting, but nothing too serious. Yeah, I said maybe that was a mistake on the Overseer sieging up. It's very possible when you siege up, you get higher range. So it's maybe he sieged up to see as much as possible and then unsieged. I feel like he'd already seen the Spire, though, so I'm not sure what exactly else he was looking for. Unless I'm mistaken, he hadn't already seen the Spire. Or maybe it was a slight misclick, but again, it's very hard to believe Serral would misclick. I mean, do you guys usually doubt gods? No, it's just a tough one to kind of call. So I felt a little weird moment. There is potentially reason it was absolutely intentional. It may have just been me not paying enough attention as to what exactly was here. And I was trying to tell my story, you know, is Serral going to sneak a little changeling out to the front, and then we'll sit with these first few Roaches. A few Roaches off over the right side as well. Just going to be seeing the drones continue to transfer between natural and third base. That's obviously one thing that Rex was only just now able to get up. So all this time, you know, despite his work account being, you know, reasonable-ish, he's not really had much of an income lead, or he's been further behind in the income than you might expect. Obviously, this is the point, a couple of points where Serral had to pull workers, so Rex did get income advantages. That's kind of why Rex is still somewhat in this game, and I just wonder if Rex is almost doing too much. I mean, I get it, right? The Spire was scouts, so now he's going to go into Roaches. He's getting +2, +1. So he will have an upgrade lead, and just banking 2 meters to clean out a couple Ovies. I do kind of like it, I suppose. Like I say, it's not much of a commitment to meters, but he's going to just get a couple of Overlord kills, and especially push Vision away from Serral. And Vision's very important. I mean, it really allows you to position your units preemptively. It allows you to just know where your opponent's moving to. And that's going to be the one thing that Rex will have in his favor because of these couple of mutas. It's still an investment, though, because he could have cancelled the Spire, had all of that money back, had the 2 mutas never built, and that could have all been roaches. So in the end, you have to ask yourself, was this worth it for Rex? Over just kind of never building the Spire and never building the mutas. And, you know, yeah, he killed an Overlord, he pushed some, you know, vision back. He could have had a mass of additional roaches or ravages here, right? Maybe that would have been better for him, because then there's +2 finishes, he's got an upgrade lead, and maybe you make a time with an army supply advantage, rather than right now, these army supplies are dead level. And I just feel like Serral defensively is very, very on point usually, so I do expect him to do pretty well here, as Rex begins to make his way across the map. Roaches and Ravages will knock down this set of rocks. And we do have our Nidus network building into the main base, so just getting that set up. Couple Queens, the Roach just going to pull in the 1 muta, actually providing vision, so a little bit of a distraction, and that maybe opens the doorway at the front here. Rex, though, oh no, he eats the Corrosive Biles, so his Ravages get absolutely eaten up by that. That's going to be a little bit painful as we see Serral having to dart on back. I'm just going to go back and forth here with both of them. Just going to be seeing our Roach Ravager. We'll do this Roach Ravager down. Serral down that 1 upgrade, but does have the reinforcements arriving more quickly. Defender's advantage is a factor here. I would love to see Rex's guy Nidus here, honestly. As now Serral actually just surges forward, knowing that he's got too much. Nidus in the main was cute to pull his opponent away, but I would have loved to see a reinforcing Nidus just so he could have dealt a bit more damage at the front, perhaps, or reinforce more quickly. Like I say, this was not really ideal. As the Roach Ravager of Serral moves over the right, the few Roaches burrow up and play off to that side. And a few Corrosive Biles trying to land on this Overseer, but not quite yet able to grab that. As now we're going to come through and just knock down this set of rocks. So the rocks will fall. We begin to make our play down to the left-hand side, down to that 3rd base. The Roaches taking down some of the Roaches. Our Ravagers firing some shots up into the skies, and, well, a good spread of units from Serral at the moment. Spreads out again. And this time, I feel like, you know, first time we're really seeing Serral being super feisty in this game, right? First time he's coming across the map with everything. He's going to make the absolute most of it. This base is almost already dead. Upgrades have evened out as well. We've got a single muta just attacking up here. I just wanted to look at that and show you what it was for a moment. But yeah, it is going to be Serral taking game number 1 of this best of 5. As he goes up 1-0 in the first match of the day in the WardiTV Christmas Day Games 2022. GG's. In the top left-hand side, our blue Zerg player. This is going to be from ENCE eSports, leading 1-0, Serral. Bottom right-hand side, our red Zerg from Onside Gaming. We have got Rex. Very interested as to what else Rex brings in this series, because again, he came pretty prepared when he played those qualifiers. He was not afraid to mix it up and play some crazier things and get a little bit wacky, for example. You know, he wasn't afraid to do all that. So, kind of interested as to what Rex will do in the rest of the series. Like I say, you know, what else does he, what does he potentially have planned to try and pull a fast one on Serral? The one thing I will say about Rex is that he's not afraid to try and play a more standard macro-focused game against players who are typically better than him. We see that a lot from him when he plays in World Team League and other events. And so, you know, he's one of those players, I feel like my point there is that he's one of these players that really kind of takes in full stride the opportunity presented, right? He's like, oh, I can just, you know, how do I say this best? Like he's like, oh, a great opportunity to practice. You mean I get to play a best of 5 against Serral? He doesn't throw that away as like, I'm just going to try and cheese the crap out of him because, hey ho, I would love to have a map win. He says, man, this is a great opportunity for me to test out my builds, test out some more of my macro. And yeah, I'm probably unfavored if I play like that, but I think Rex does kind of take that kind of approach a lot of the time. I mean, that's not to say he's not going to be a little bit more aggressive or a little bit quirky, but I just don't think it's going to be like a 12-pull drone pull every time, because Rex believes his best chance is a little bit of an early game micro war where one mistake could really give him the victory, for example. So yeah, we'll see what he does here. It was a pool first, so he's going to have 6lings across the map early. His gas finishing up in the base now as well, and these Zerglings beginning to make their way to the top side of the map. So away they go, Rex on a journey. I'm just going to be seeing the Queen Ling production from Serral. Continuing through as well, Zergling speed on the way up, the Overlord producing 2. I mean, Serral's build is just absolutely normal and expected. As they build on the side of Rex, obviously these slings showing up is a little bit more of a surprise. A few things will just sit there and nibble at the hatchery just for a moment or two. And they're going to get turned around, so they don't really gain much. We lose a Ling. Not really ideal at all for Rex. Not sure if there's kind of a plan here at all, because now he's behind on the Ling speed as well, so kind of just turns into a disadvantage for him throughout. Serral is going to build the Baneling Nest. Doesn't look like he wants to be the initiator when it comes to Zergling production, though. He's quite happy to just get this Baneling Nest up and online. And with that Baneling Nest online, he seems to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be able to get a few Banes in. And if I need them defensively, brilliant. Obviously, like I say, he's not looking to be the instigator when it comes to Ling Bane aggression. As he scouts in, he sees not really much going on at the front or in the base of his opponent either. So Serral, I think, is feeling pretty safe. He is going to drop down the Roach Roaring, and that's probably why he canceled the Baneling Nest as well. He saw no Ling, so he says, cool, I don't actually need the Baneling Nest here, and I can just go for my Roach Roaring. I've got my earlier Ling speed, and so Serral's just trying to cut corners, and rightfully so. The thing is, he's not cutting these corners blind. He's, you know, he's got like a little extendy mirror that he's pointing around the corner to see what's coming first. And he's like, oh, nothing's coming? Cool, I can cut this one, you know? So he's really kind of getting himself a little bit ahead. And just, I mean, doing what Serral does best. Scouting effectively, seeing exactly what's going on, and just doing a fantastic job of it. As 12 more Zerglings are going to be finishing up from Rex here, so getting those all on the way out. The Carapace upgrade building on the Evo Chamber. Roach Roaring building from Rex on at the front. And the few Lings of Serral will pull back through the center towards the upper left-hand side. We've got 10 more Lings producing as well over here. Make that 14 even. Those numbers are ramping on up. A lot of these Lings gathered down the south side. And we've seen Lings running forward, Lings on Lings. Beginning to fight here, and just going to be seeing Rex continue to chase Serral down. Serral is going to have a couple of queens that are looking to take down this Overlord, so would love to nab that in the next few moments. That will fall. Overlord killed. And again, the rest of these Zerglings of Rex would love to just get across here, try and get involved, if at all possible. Let's just continue up, and our Lings trying to hit the third. Return, we fight, return again. Back and forth continues between the two of them right now. We're going to spin a few Lings off to the side. Worker count is even, Serral just has more Lings, and he's producing Roaches, he's producing Ovies. He's going to go with this Ling Roach timing. Now, Rex is kind of on the same front, but Rex is actually now building a Bane Nest as well, just trying to introduce that. They're kind of both doing the same things, just Serral has more army, 14 more Lings, 4 more Roaches as we say right now, and he has similar-ish amounts in the production tab. He had more when I was starting my speech, but then some finish, and obviously that means the unit's already outchanged as well. Serral jumps in, he gets rid of a queen, he gets onto the Roaches initially, although now those Lings decide they need to pull back. It's going to be seeing the Lings and Roaches producing on both sides still, so continuing to get that going. In we go again from Serral as get some free shots in these Lings of Rex. He wants to get across the map, he wants to do something here. Like I say, they're both just spamming units off of equal workers, but this really doesn't favor Rex, who just started building units later, or, again, just the worst start. Pool first that didn't achieve anything versus Serral's Hatch first that defended. And now you can just see that difference in the army supply count, because otherwise everything else they've done is mirrored. So yeah, Serral is just up a bunch of supply when they do mirrored builds, and Serral recognizing that Rex is coming his way. Obviously the one difference in this game is the Banelings, so the Banelings will maybe be the game changer for Rex, who starts to drone here, so maybe doesn't feel like he can do much at all. He really needs these Banelings to hit a lot of the Lings of Serral. If they do not manage to do that, I think Rex is in some serious trouble, and so far, these Banelings are not achieving much at all, and Serral is on the chase. He's on the hunt, looking to take down everything that Rex has. Continuing to push down to the bottom right-hand side. There's a couple of Banes. Well, they turn around for a moment. A few Lings starting to go down as well. Roaches, Lings, and Banes come back in. Corrosive Vows will strike down a Roach or two. Going to be seeing our Banes continuing across. Our Lings looking to surround as much as possible. Serral just has so much Roach Ravager, and Rex basically only has Blings left over. Explosive Battles to get rid of one of the building Roaches, and, well, Serral is just going to reinforce the Blings because they're going to arrive quickly. He's already got the Roach Ravager to get this job done, and this is going to be Serral taking a game number 2 in this best of 5. Serral. We knew he was a favorite coming into this one, guys. Absolutely no doubt. And it's going to be very, very true here. And wasting as we have ourselves this best of 5 continuing in the bottom left and up 2-0. Our blue Zerg player is Serral. In the top right corner of the map, our red Zerg player from Onside Gaming is Rex. Let's see if Rex can pull something out then. I mean, he just... The pool first last time just put him behind, I think. At the end of the day, there's not really much more to say to it than that. Right? He pool firsted. He built a bunch of lings. They did absolutely naff all. And then they proceeded to do pretty much mirrored build orders. And Serral was just up a whole chunk of army supply the entire time. To add on to that, Rex became the aggressor into the defender in the same situation. With Serral having more, it wasn't really a fair fight. So this time around, we are going to mirror from the very get-go. Hatchery first apiece. So that alone should be kind of interesting here. As we do get our few drones, continue to produce a hatch coming online. And let's see where we can take this. Game number 3. As our extractor goes down on both sides of the map, obviously. The opening is absolutely everywhere right now. You can do pretty much whatever you would like at the moment. You can do pretty much whatever you would currently like. The power is all yours, right? That's not a bad place to be in. ZvZ is like that. Obviously, usually ZvZ, when you kind of, take control of the game, it's kind of down to what your opponent's doing as well, though. You don't actually have full control, because you can do whatever you want, but your opponent's going to be like, no, well, actually, I was doing this, right? Overlord heading to the top. Spawning pools coming down. We do see a couple of additional drones just popping out from Rex. And just going to be getting to mining. One of them already down towards the natural. And this Overlord is going to advance on over and have a look to see what's going on in this natural as well. The drone coming up, the queen coming in. I mean, obviously, the main thing you're scouting right now is the fact that this is indeed hatchery first. And you see a couple of drones down here too, so you know there's at least a little bit of work production beyond the 16, unless it's a mind game. Alright, and that's actually an important scout because there were builds, once upon a time where, you could kind of make a hatchery, make it look like a hatchery first, but it was actually still some kind of an early pool and speed, and, it was kind of funky. So actually seeing a couple of drones there is a pretty good indicator that it is just absolutely the hatch first, and there's just no harm in going in that. 2 or 3 seconds more, you're still long gone before the queen spawns. Now the first 2 lings of Serral will arrive, and they're going to nibble this hatchery. And that's the real difference so far. It's 2 lings versus 4. Serral made 2, and Rex made 4. So Serral should, in fact, just be up a drone, and that's pretty much where he is. Drops down the Baling Nest a little bit quicker than Rex. I mean, we're just talking by a couple of moments, and nothing too crazy just yet in that regard. Lings making their way over to the left, and we do have, of course, the 3rd hatchery. Just still building up for the moment. So that 3rd hatch coming online. And again, 2 more lings heading down to the south. Well, this time we do commit to the Baling Nest, and we are going to commit to the lings as well. Serral is going to instigate here, as he has 18 of them on the way with ling speed about to finish. And like I say, he'll have that Baling Nest as well, so he can take the Banelings across the map if he does so wish. There go the Zerglings. The hatchery gets going. I'm just going to be seeing all of these Zerglings going to start charging out to the upper right-hand side here. As a couple of lings peel away over the far right side. Well, defensive Banelings begin to morph from Rex, so he begins to set up defensively. Turns around, we get rid of 1 ling, we're looking for the other. Get 1 more Zergling again, and just going to be having those lings still going after this hatchery. A couple of Banes continue through, we're going to see the other Banes coming back, and just going to be seeing the queens. We'll go after those Banelings. Going to nab at the both of them. Just going to see the lings coming up here, and they will get rid of. The lings will get rid of 1 of them at least, the hatch. Low, but not dead, and that is obviously the good news. The bad news for Rex is Serral was already up on workers on the back of that. Let's see if Rex can force Serral to make some units now, and obviously while he is coming across the map, he can begin to drone. It looks like Rex will end up on the better work account here. Serral a little bit better teched up, already making use of his Evo Chamber to go to the +1 missile upgrade. And this queen is going to go nibbling away at this Overlord as well. So these couple queens just going to pick their way through that. That Overlord will be taken down in the next few moments. Evo Chamber and the Roach Roar are going to drop into the natural. I'm just going to see a few banelings joining up in the center as well. A few Zerglings joining in over here. And we've got a single ling of Serral making its way up in towards this third base. It's going to run on by, and now this ling wants to run into the natural, but the queen is there to block it. The other lings are there too. There is the Roach production starting up. +1 missile upgrade. Obviously so far along for Serral too. I mean, you got to wonder, is there some potential Roach timing in play for him here? I mean, probably not, because his lair's just now coming up. It's not going to sync up with Roach speed at all. So yeah, probably not. Meanwhile, though, I mean, you look at what Rex is up to, and he goes Carapace. Carapace generally does more so lead to the timings, because you're saying, hey, I'm going to play Ling Roach. And there is just a point where Ling Roach is just not as good as just pure flat Roach Ravager. So, yeah, maybe Rex just goes straight up pure Roach production from this point on. You can see Serral, I mean, he's droning. He'll be building Roach speed when this lair is done. Serral's looking to play the longer game. I mean, he's pushing onto the map, but he's not really going to commit, right? Well, I mean, he might poke. It looks like he is going to poke at the very least. Let's see what he can do then. In theory, this shouldn't really do much. He's down 20-something army supply, so Serral is in the worst place he could be for actually trying to fight into this position. That's not going to go well for him at all, as we do see the Lings and the Roaches continue to move across. And Roaches of Rex here make their way and chasing down that army of Serral. Serral is just going to get pushed all the way down to the bottom left-hand corner. So yeah, Serral being chased in full here, and just going to be having ourselves, well, a whole bunch more Lings, a Ravager, Capri's upgrade. I mean, it's time for Rex to strike. In theory, this is one of the best setups you should have, right? Where Serral just gave up a chunk of units attacking across the map into an army supply advantage that Rex had. And here we go. Rex is fighting a little bit soon for Carapace. It's going to finish as this fight has started. Oh yeah, Serral just already in such a good concave here. The Lings going down quickly. The Banes helping to bring those Lings low on HP. We're doing a pretty good job of staying away from the corrosive vials mostly. Army supply is now already in favor of Serral. And he's got 13 new Roaches joining this battle. 14 new Roaches joining this battle. With his Spine Crawler up defensively as well. I mean, these corrosive vials in the center are nice, but he doesn't actually get all three in the same spot, so only one of the Roaches gets cancelled. It looks as though Serral is going to make a hold in this game number 3. First best of 5 of the day may very well just be a little bit of a sweep, as this is a comfortable hold at this point. We're moving forward, picking up the Ravagers. They're obviously the big units you want to get rid of. They're expensive. The corrosive vials can be scary. They are what you want to get rid of. As I think Rex is going to be pretty much out of options here. Serral, yeah, kind of our top seed going into this event, facing, you know, no offense to Rex, but the bottom seed, right? He qualified. He had a great qualification process. He made it, and he surprised us all. But the seed in here is going to kind of put him into a tough spot. And it was a rough spot. You have to fight Serral. And Serral just says, hey, look, I'm the favorite here. Let's not play any funny games or anything. Let's not, you know, it's not Halloween. It's not trick or treat. There's no tricks or treats. You know, it's just StarCraft. It's Christmas. You know, there's no presents for you, Rex. Gotta earn them. Something like that. I don't know where this analogy went to. Serral opens the day with a 3-0 over Rex. What a start, as he will comfortably advance into the semi-finals.